Hello and welcome to Tech Talk. In this series I talk about the Eurorack modules that I use. And as I like techno, what could be more appropriate than talking about a kick drum module in this episode number 1. Here we have the Tiptop BD909 kick drum module, which is supposed to be the recreation of Roland's TR909 kick drum circuit, but with a few additions. At the top right, the level control. I always have it completely open and rather adjust it later in the chain. So let's start listening to the BD909. So now you hear it with a quite short decay, but we come to this later. On the top left we have the overload function. It starts with some harmonics and continues to a distorted sound. Down here we have the CV input for the overload, although it's called VC overload. So that's voltage control instead of control voltage for whatever reason. And if I give a little voltage from maths, I could overdrive it even more. And of course you could use some other modulation sources like an LFO or even a gate signal. It just needs to be long enough, but you can adjust this here with Pamela's workout. Although it's a trigger, yes, it has trigger outputs, but you can adjust the length so you can also have a gate signal. Even with this first version, which I like because of the 7-segment display. So here comes the gate. On every second beat. Okay, this was overload. In the second row we have attack and decay. In the third row there's an attack and decay also. So what is the difference? Now the first decay adjusts how long the tone of the kick will last. So we have this very short decay, could go even shorter. That's too short. And up to very long decay. And with attack you can give it a little punch. I find this could rather have more impact on the sound, especially with the long decay. There's not so much difference between the both most extreme settings of this attack knob. So maybe with a shorter decay, this is left and this is this is a bit softer. I think this could be a little more. Okay, well, this row is called 909 Attack and Decay. The other Attack and Decay row has the addition Tune. And that is actually this pitch envelope that gives a fast sliding sound right after the attack. Now here comes a little insertion. The use of these both terms, pitch and tune, is not very consistent through the world of kick drums. Tiptop uses tune just like Roland does for their 909 drum machine. The same with Jomox on their Modbase 09. And they call the height of the tone pitch. MFB, however, uses these terms just the other way around on their drum machine Tanzbärs. So they say to the height of the tone, they call it tune, and the other is pitch. And to make the confusion complete, Tiptop calls both meanings tune. So we have this tune here, this more envelope thing, and this tune is the oscillator tune. So here we can adjust the height of the tone. So from this middle position, it's about 2 half tones up and 2 half tones down. Maybe with a longer decay you can hear better. So that's it. If you want to have more range of the oscillator, you can insert here the CV, which is called also VC tune. Yeah, then you have a wider range. Oh, maybe I should demonstrate this also, huh? Should I? Yeah. Back to the attack, also the tune decay has an associated attack, which has a slightly different sound as the attack of the decay. this is more punch. Lastly, we take a look at the accent. I don't really like the sound of the accent over this point. It sounds like a digital overload to me. I would rather like to have it just loud, just with an accent, a punch, and not distorted. If I wanted this, I could use the overload function here, which sounds much nicer to me. But I don't know, maybe you see this different. Okay, let's then try the accent in. As soon as I plug in a cable here, the sound gets quieter. And with a gate signal, the accented sound reaches the level where it was without having a cable plugged in. So this is without cable. I would have found it more logical the other way around, so that you have the same output level with or without cable and then have an accent on top. But I can think you can live with it because you probably have either the cable plugged in or not the whole time. So you set your base level as you like and then add the accent. But I have the problem that I like the sound right under this point where I don't like it at all. So this right here. So I won't go over that. I don't want to have the accent sound like this. That's why I probably will use the accent CV the other way around. Have an accent normally and fill up the beat with some accentuated kicks. So to show this, I speed up the kick here. And on the fourth, I go to the normal kick. So I have the accent on every usual kick, but the other beats in between are not accented. In this case, the gate is very long. I go to the settings here Okay, so far the sound. I have to say, in the first place, I didn't like the look of this module at all, with this hedgehog design and these small knobs. In the meantime, that has changed and I see it as a really unique and classic look. Especially if you have several modules, Tiptop modules, next to each other. The small knobs, however, are still annoying sometimes. But I very much like the sound. That's the way a techno kick should be. However, I have to admit that sometimes I would rather have a really deep kick with lots of low end. This is where a Jomox Mod Bass 09 might shine. But for classical techno, I think Tipno is going the right direction when they say allowing your bass lines to deeply fill up the low end while the kick drum rides on top. So that was my review of the Tiptop BD909. See you next time.